$40,000. If you remember 10 years ago, servers and hosting are a lot more expensive than they are now. Even though Fortune was much smaller, everything was a lot more expensive. I mean, back then, I think we were paying something like $10 a megabit, and that was a good deal at the time. Now you can get away with like $2 to $3 a megabit, depending on who you're hosting with. So I did this. We took donations, and we raised $14,000. And I delivered the goods. I mean, I bought servers, and within a few months I co-located them. And it's been 10 years since I've asked for another cent. And so I delivered that 1 year, and then gave you an extra 9 on the house. And so I'm very proud that we were able to do that. And the reason I was okay with doing that, and the reason I'm not okay doing donations now, and kind of don't really believe in them in general, is that that was a very explicit. There were very clear expectations as far as what was expected. Just there's again, here's the ask. Here's what I want to do. Here's how much money I need. I've done the math, and yeah, I think I can make good on this. Again, very much like a kind of a Kickstarter model. Like, this is the project I want to do. And we did it, and I fulfilled. I satisfied my backers. I fulfilled that promise, and again, an extra 9 years on the house. And I think that, again, there was a very explicit kind of social contract that existed between myself and the users who donated. And again, I fulfilled my side of that bargain. And whereas I think with ongoing donations, the challenge that you have is there's kind of more of this implicit expectation for how that money will be used, and like what should be expected in return for that donation. And it's very hard to find consensus amongst kind of the administration, me in this case, and the users on and how that money should be spent, or again, what they should expect in response. And so you end up seeing this really kind of unhealthy kind of disconnect or kind of dynamic exist where, I mean, even when we took the donations years and years ago, I would get emails for years with people saying, I donated, so you should unban me, or I donated, and so you're a fucker for doing this, or I donated, and you should make me a mod. It's like people would kind of have these kind of demands, or again, these kind of really out of whack expectations in terms of what they should receive in response for their donation. And it was kind of like a favor that, it was kind of like a future favor that they had bought. And then again, if they got happy or unhappy rather over time, they would regret the donation. And so I really do believe that the kind of the Kickstarter model works a lot better, because I think you really need to have very explicit kind of upfront expectations about what you're going to use the money for, and then how to satisfy it. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say, is that you need some way of meeting those expectations and satisfying that kind of contract that exists. And when it's more of this kind of implicit amorphous thing over time, it really it just doesn't work. And again, I think you see a lot of and frankly at Fortune scale now, it really just doesn't work for sites past a certain scale. And so it worked for us for a time, and it really just doesn't work going forwards. And I just really don't like that social dynamic that exists. And so I've instead, again, we sell the Fortune passes, and some people kind of treat them as a donation and they want to support the site. But this is a product that we're offering. It's a service that we offer. Same thing with advertising. I mean, we're offering a good service in exchange. And again, as long as we give you your 1 year Fortune pass, you got what you paid for. As long as we give you your $20 worth of advertising, your 100,000 impressions or whatever, you got what you paid for. And so it's a lot easier to satisfy those expectations when it's a good or service being offered, instead of this, oh, you're going to donate, and 5 years from now you're gonna call, tell me I'm bullshit and demand your money back, or tell me you should be a moderator. And it's funny because I mean that's kind of died out now, but for years I would get this, and after a certain point it was easy to call bullshit on people, because they would say, oh, I donated last year, oh, I've donated 2 years ago, and I would just be like, we haven't taken donations in 8 years, so fuck you, you're full of shit. You're like, there's no way. I mean, I never said that, I just never responded, but it's like, people would try to kind of hold that over me. So let's see. Okay, I was walking around my apartment. Let's see. Let's see. 37,000 viewers. So I'm boring some of you to tears. Thank God. Do you appreciate repeating digits? 3812. Yes, I do. I am reformed. I love dubs now. In fact, you should be sure to thank people and appreciate and notate their dubs when they. Oh my God, this is wow. Somebody said 3821. My question: did you see the Habbo Hotel raid we did last night when you announced your retirement? Pools closed 2015. Thanks for creating this awesome community. I had not seen that. That is that's funny. That really takes me back. Thank you. That's very sweet of you. Trying to figure out how long have I been streaming right now, because it's going to kick me off at some point. I mean, I guess I've been on there 2 hours, but I'm just curious when it's going to kick me off. Let's see. $3,854. I think it's good you decided to move on from 4chan. I think you should start movements, build them up, and let them go. Like Nosh when he sold off Minecraft. Don't put yourself in a box. Don't limit yourself from what it could be. My question is, what projects are you thinking about pursuing post 4chan? Will you continue advocating for anonymity? Yeah, I mean, I consider myself an advocate, not an activist. You know, I really believe in anonymity. I'm still waiting for somebody to quote me on the free speech stuff. I think people, again, as I pointed out, that sticky have kind of chosen to kind of conflate or willingly misinterpret being an advocate for anonymity as being an advocate for free speech. Again, highlighting how anonymity enables you to share things that you may not otherwise feel comfortable sharing, and that it enables raw, kind of unfiltered speech, and kind of, again, conflating that with a different concept. But I have always considered myself an advocate for anonymity, and or really not even anonymity. I mean, again, people I think have tried to kind of paint this in black and white. And if you look at my, I did a talk at Web 2.0 Summit. I did speak at XOXO 2012. You can watch that. But I spoke at a Web 2.0 Summit 2011, and I talked about identity and kind of this concept of prismatic identity. And my point was that people really kind of often paint the world in this black and white, right? I mean, with red, blue, black, white, whatever, and kind of want to paint it in this kind of duality. And so they painted in terms of anonymity and Facebook identity, right? Real identity, or first name, last name identity. And I think that is really oversimplifies. And again, identity is a spectrum. It's there are a lot of options. You can be anonymous. You can be anonymous on the front end, like you are on 4chan, kind of to other users. You can be anonymous on the back end, kind of using, say, Tor or TorChat or something like that. You can be you can use a pseudonym. You can have a pseudonym that changes from place to place. You can have one that's fixed. You can have first name. You can have first name, last name, first name, profile picture. So there are all of these different options that exist, and that's what I've tried to do is kind of highlight that, yes, there are options. We should continue to use those options and not limit ourselves to just the one kind of the type of identity that's in vogue right now, which for a long time has been Facebook identity. I think we're seeing things kind of pull away from that a little bit. So and again, anonymity, anonymous contribution as an alternative to that, and a valid and really desirable alternative in some cases, and so that people should build products that incorporate, again, kind of the flexibility and identity rather than this kind of one concept of it. So so that's what I've tried to to be an advocate for over the years. Really, is just having options and highlighting what some of those options are. So I assume, I mean, my feelings there haven't changed. So I imagine I would. But again, if you look at it, I haven't really given many talks for the past year or two. I really stopped doing press for 4chan a while ago because I've already said all this. I mean, I've already put it out there, and I think that it's there's nothing new I really have to contribute on those subjects, at least not now. And I mean, last year a lot of people reached out for comment about all these anonymous apps, but I didn't really use them and really care about them, and so I didn't really have a whole lot to say.